Hi there, in this video we are comparing two affordable camera monitors. This here is the popular Feelworld F6 Plus, and in this hand I have the new Lilmon 5 from Osee. Both of these monitors currently sells for $189. One of the first things that I want to bring up in this video is the screen size. If you go online and you look at the specs for the F6 Plus, you can see that it's sometimes listed as a 5.5-inch monitor and sometimes as a 6-inch monitor, even by Feelworld themselves. So I figured before we go any further, let's settle this once and for all. So here we have the Feelworld F6 Plus and the Lilmon 5, and I will measure with this apparatus from the edge of the screen in here, not including the bezels. So if we do that and measure diagonally across like this, we have 14 centimeters, which is pretty much dead on 5.5 inches. Now let's go ahead and do the same on the Lilmon 5 here, and what do you know, 14 centimeters on the Lilmon as well. So with that out of the way, let's start comparing the outside with the in and outputs and all that fun stuff. So let's put them side by side or even on top of each other like this. And if we do that, we can see the F6 Plus is just a tiny bit wider than the Lilmon 5, which on the other hand looks like it's a few millimeters thicker than the F6 Plus. In terms of in and outputs, they both have the same HDMI in and out. They both have barrel connectors for DC power in and out, headphone jacks, and so on. What sets them apart is the calibration port here on the Lilmon 5 and the USB-C type port here at the bottom of the F6 Plus. There's also one additional mounting point at the top here of the F6 Plus, which we'll talk more about in a minute or so. There's a little multi-wheel here on the top of the F6 Plus as well, which you can use to navigate the menus. You can also use it to increase or decrease the screen brightness and headphone volume, while the Lilmon 5 on the other hand is all touch. Having that little multi-wheel on the top of the F6 Plus might be a pro for some people. Me on the other hand, even if I'm shooting when it's cold and I'm wearing gloves, I normally take off my gloves to use the touchscreen on the F6 Plus, just because it's easier and it's faster to navigate with the touchscreen instead of using the multi-wheel. And speaking of screens, both of these monitors have a 16:9 aspect ratio and a resolution of 1920x1080 at 400 ppi. They both support 4K signals, the Lilmon 5 up to 30 frames per second 4K DCI, while the F6 tops out at 4K 24 if you're feeding it the 4K DCI signal. Now, I wouldn't call the few extra frames on the Lilmon a major win here, since most cameras today will let you set your HDMI out for monitoring to 4K or 1080. So either way, you're probably gonna be fine with either of these monitors. What is a huge difference between these two is the brightness. While the Feelworld taps out at 500 nits, the Lilmon 5 will give you 1000 nits. Now, the Feelworld comes with a hood, which is going to help some, but on sunny days, if you're shooting outside, you're still gonna find yourself struggling to see the monitor a lot of times. While the Lilmon 5, on the other hand, have been plenty bright for the daytime shoots that I've done so far. And I know there's some debate among people whether 1000 nits should be considered daylight viewable or not, but unless you're shooting something super big budget, you're probably not going to be looking at these monitors anyway. 1000 nits will probably get you by most of the time. And speaking of big budget, both of these monitors supports HDR, HLG 2020, P3 and so on, but the brightness of the Lilmon 5 makes monitoring HDR footage easier and obviously more accurate. But all these specs aside, let's talk a bit about user experience and usability, handling and that kind of stuff. Both of these monitors obviously comes jam-packed with a number of different tools for exposure, manual focusing, anamorphic D-squeeze, and they can both support custom LUTs and all that fun stuff. But when it comes to actual usability and handling, I would have to give this one to the Lilmon 5 for a couple of reasons. Number one, well, first of all, you're getting a few more features on the Lilmon 5. Number two, the user interface on the Lilmon 5 is, well, it's actually way more high res compared to the older one on the F6 Plus, which makes some of the features like vector scopes and, well, other features a bit more precise, and I feel like I can rely on what I'm seeing on the screen a bit more with the Lilmon 5 because of that higher resolution. So if we compare the menu systems between these two different monitors, I would say that you don't have to spend as much time digging or digging as deep on the Lilmon 5 to find the features or whatever parameter you're looking for. And the Lilmon 5 also gives you the option to create presets or these customizable pages, which essentially lets you set up for different cameras, shooting scenarios, what have you. So maybe you're shooting HLG for one project and you're shooting log for another and Rec 79 for fast turnarounds. Well, you can have everything set up on these different pages, switch between them on the F6 Plus. On the other hand, on 9 you have to go in and make all those changes every time you make a switch. Now, do you remember that USB-C port on the F6 Plus that we talked about in the beginning of this video? This, in my opinion, is a huge win for the F6 Plus compared to the Lilmon 5. There's been a few of those lately, but here's one for you. So this USB-C port, first of all, there's no data or image transmission over this port. It can only be used to power the monitor. That said, it have saved me a couple of times when I've been out shooting and I run out of battery, because you can power this monitor on a regular power bank. It doesn't have to be a power delivery power bank. Any old power bank will do, and just a regular USB-C cable. So that's super duper clutch. It's also nice to have in a studio setting like this. So right now I have the Feelworld F6 Plus on the top of this camera here, and I'm feeding it power through a regular charging brick and a USB-C cable. So super duper clutch, really. Another win, maybe not worthy of a full point, but at least a gold star for the F6 Plus, is the dual battery plate. Now, unless you're sitting on a pile of Canon E6 batteries, I think you'll find yourself using Sony MPF style batteries like most people do, because the size, price, the availability, and so many use cases for these MPF batteries. I'm gonna give it a gold star at least. Another thing that we talked about in the beginning of this video that I promised I'd get back to is the extra mounting point on the top of the F6 Plus. Now, I'm not calling this a win or anything, but I am happy that they actually put one there, because they put the headphone jack at the bottom of the monitor right next to the mounting point, which is the one that you actually want to use unless you're using the included swivel arms that comes with both of these monitors. But after a while with those swivel arms, then you will probably want to get a better monitor mount like these ones, for instance. And when you do, you're not going to be able to use that headphone jack unless you mount the monitor upside down. But in my review video of the F6 Plus, I go in a bit more on detail on why I don't like that solution. But yeah, I'm just going to leave a link to that video and the Lilmon 5 review as well in the description of this video. And I'm also going to leave links to both of these monitors on Amazon, because like we said, both of these are $189 today. But I want to see the F6 Plus come down a couple of dollars just to make it a bit more competitive. It is an older monitor. It had its run, it's been doing it for 3 years. The deal is not as great anymore at $189 compared to the Lilmon 5. That's what I'm trying to say here. But if they can bring down the price a bit, it could still be a great option for people on a super tight budget or someone only shooting indoors in a studio setting like this, where you don't need those 1000 nits and some of the other features that you get on the Lilmon 5. But as it is today, on the current prices, $189, I would have to say that the Lilmon 5 is the clear winner between these two. Now, if you think different, let me know in the comment section. I'm looking forward to read what you have to say. But until next time, I want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Okay, bye.